I am the true daughter in a tale of switched identities. Once my real identity was revealed, I found no love, only a bounty of hatred. Reincarnated, I chose to let go, discarding the hospital's diagnosis. I took my modest savings and began live streaming what I called my journey to death. Suddenly, the family members who despised me acted as if possessed, desperately trying to find and save me, my biological parents, eyes red with emotion, dared not come close as they watched me climb a cliff and sit on a precarious swing, crying out their apologies for their mistakes. My brother, who hated me the most, held a childhood teddy bear, trembling and crying. My spiteful sister cut her long hair and crafted a wig to send to me, pleading for my acceptance and a chance to make amends. The false daughter knelt beside my sickbed, her eyes filled with unspoken resentment, repeatedly whispering her apologies. The test results show it's gastric cancer, the doctor said, his face tinged with sympathy. There's still hope for a cure, but it will be costly. Our city's top hospital has cured many cases of early-stage gastric cancer. I was reborn on the very day I was diagnosed with gastric cancer, 18 days after my true identity as a wealthy daughter was exposed. I came to the hospital alone, thinking of the money in my account, and chose not to repeat the decisions of my past life. In my previous life, upon learning of my cancer, I had a mental breakdown and desperately sought validation. Penny, the false daughter, was busy with her global tour, basking in the glory that followed her everywhere. Though it was a nurse's mistake that had us switched at birth, how could an ordinary girl like me compare to the dazzling Penny? Among two jewels, I was the one discarded. Indeed, I was the Lincoln's biological child, but I lived a life far inferior to Penny, the adopted one who received all their love and kindness. After my diagnosis, I constantly asked the Lincolns for money for treatment. Penny accused me of reckless spending and suspected me of gambling addiction, leading both families to cut me off financially. To afford my treatment, I resorted to live streaming, making public appearances, and attending various social events. The cost of treatment was high and painful. After chemotherapy, I lost all my hair and could no longer work, forcing me to call Penny for a loan. She was abroad and hung up as soon as she heard my request. I told her about my advanced stage gastric cancer and my need for money. Not only did she refuse to lend me money, but she even told my biological parents that I was faking cancer to fuel a drug habit. From then on, no one believed me, even when I showed them the medical report confirming my cancer diagnosis. They just scoffed, telling me to stop my charade, caught between two families. I had nothing but myself, living like a villain out of a story. Snapping out of my reverie, I looked at the newly received diagnosis report and the modest sum left in my bank account. It seemed substantial but was far too little for cancer treatment. I returned to the Lincoln family's mansion, where Penny was excitedly telling everyone about her upcoming global tour. This year, her orchestra is planning a global tour, and with the help of the Lincoln family, she secured a spot as a substitute violinist. Both families are overjoyed for her. All eyes are on her. See, she always manages to capture everyone's attention. No one cares about me, except for Penny. Are you happy for me too, sis? Penny, wearing a pleated skirt, looks at me with a beaming smile. It's just another one of those comments that cuts right to my heart. Happy for you, go for it, do your best. After all, you're just a substitute. You'll probably only play once during the whole global tour. I walk away nonchalantly, heading back to my room to pack. In the final stretch of my life, I want to create some beautiful memories for myself. I have no plans to seek treatment. I want to travel the world in the time I have left. Chemotherapy is just too painful, even in death. I do not wish to experience that kind of pain and despair again. My first stop was Y City, where I spent my time taking photos and live streaming. Thoroughly enjoying myself, I booked a well-reviewed local guest house, which was charmingly decorated in a style reminiscent of The Wizard of Oz. I even posted a rare photo on social media. During a meal, I started a live stream and chatted with a few scattered fans. Y City has lots of tasty food, and the fruits are really sweet. I loved the fruit salad I bought. It was only a few bucks for a big box, all fresh and juicy, bursting with sweet and sour flavors that delighted my senses. During the stream, someone commented that I looked pale. I just smiled and touched up my blush. There's a lot to enjoy in Y City. I live streamed myself picking fruits, making flower crowns, and even paid to go mushroom picking in the hills. The mushroom soup was delicious. I had 3 big bowls before I threw up. The fans in my live stream laughed at my greed, but only I knew the real reason why. After spending half a month in Y City, my biological parents remembered I existed and gave me a call. "Where are you? Penny's about to start her global tour, you better come back soon." The voice on the other end was impatient, interspersed with Penny's cooing. The audience in my live stream could hear me on the phone. I smiled and walked aside. "Go ahead without me, I have more important things to take care of." "What could possibly be more important?" My older brother Charles spoke up. In a past life, he had slapped me for Penny. Back then, I was desperately ill, and in a bid to survive, I had begged Penny for money to treat my illness. Charles had pulled me up and slapped me, saying the Lincolns couldn't afford such embarrassment. I didn't care. My tone was light, as if it wasn't a matter of life or death. My life? What's more important than my own life? Charles was taken aback, as if my words had chased him away. "If you don't come back, I'll cut off your allowance," said Caesar, my nominal father. I still didn't care. "Fine, do what you must. I don't even care about dying." "Why would I care about your allowance?" When I sat back down to continue the live stream, a few sympathetic fans asked if I was joking. I laughed and stuffed a big slice of mango into my mouth. "Yeah, it's a deadly illness, so you all had better cherish the current me. As for a beautiful girl like me, every glance is one less you get." In the midst of laughter, those perilous topics were effortlessly glossed over. Everyone was saying I'm narcissistic, telling others to run away because there's something off about this woman. Suddenly, a colorful barrage of comments drifted across the screen. "You look pale, you should visit the hospital when you have time." I packed up my things and left Y City for my next stop, S City. As soon as I arrived in S City, I received a phone call from my biological parents, urgent as if they were hastening my demise. I didn't answer. They just wanted to show me live updates of Penny's spectacular moments abroad. I wasn't interested. There was a moderate number of visitors at the South City Gardens, had deliberately dressed in traditional Han attire and even had a styling session at a Han clothing studio. To indulge in a bit of narcissism, I felt like an ancient maiden who had traveled through time. I held up my phone for a live stream, occasionally responding to questions from my viewers. When one arm got tired, I switched to the other, my face flashing briefly on the screen. The colorful comments promptly appeared as expected. "Did you go to the hospital?" Considering his luxurious barrage of comments, I couldn't help but click through to this wealthy viewer's profile. Deep ocean. The profile picture was just a sea, dark and oppressive. I shifted my gaze back, holding a recently purchased bellflower, and responded, "I went, and the doctor said it's not serious, no need for hospitalization." Stomach cancer. Hospitalization didn't really matter anymore. The viewer quieted down, and I nodded in satisfaction. I thought that would be the end of it, but the unexpected happened suddenly. A new, small account began bombarding the chat with questions about my location, using a system default avatar. My viewers responded for me, but the person kept on asking as if blind to their replies. "Where are you?" Suddenly, that barrage of comments shouted out my name. A chill ran down my spine as I stared at the intrusive messages. Who could it be? I couldn't fathom who would find me on such a small live streaming platform. "Who are you?" The person didn't reply, instead continuing to flood the chat. "Don't leave. Stay there. I'm coming to take you to the hospital." Hospital. I pondered over the word. From my last life to this, I couldn't connect anyone to the person behind these comments. In my past life, I desperately wanted to be hospitalized, to survive. But no one was willing to help. This life, I didn't want to be hospitalized, yet here was this anonymous person insisting on taking me. Such warm words, but they couldn't warm me. I'm like someone drowning, longing to drown, unwilling to be saved. "I'm fine, just a bit anemic, no need for a hospital." I picked up the bellflower again and strolled leisurely through the gardens of S City. The colorful comments appeared once more. Deep Ocean asking, "Are you really okay?" I cheerfully bought myself an ice cream. What could be wrong with me? A beauty, mind your own business. Suddenly, massive bursts of fireworks effects filled the screen in red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. A full spectrum exploded. A single firework gift cost 10,000, and with 7 fireworks, that was 70,000. He kept going, different colored fireworks blooming across the screen, drawing countless viewers into the live stream to watch the fireworks. And this person with the default avatar kept sending fireworks, each one followed by the message, "Don't go, stay there." don't move, brother will take you to the hospital. Brother, do I have a brother? I definitely don't have a brother. Charles has just one sister named Penny, he told me himself. I remember it clearly. Initially, I was somewhat curious about this person, but now all I feel is deep disgust. I turned off the live stream, quickly finished my leftover ice cream, and bought a ticket to a coastal city. Everyone should see the ocean at least once in their lifetime. I will never forget, the night before I died, seeing their family portrait posted on social media. It was a beautiful beach scene, they looked healthy and happy, everyone seemed perfect. My imperfection seemed like it would bring them misfortune, as if we were inherently incompatible. Blood relation wasn't a bond between us, but rather an unbreakable shackle, a bond that couldn't be escaped. The ice cream was too cold, causing a faint pain in my stomach. I pulled out a bottle of painkillers from my bag, took one, and put the rest back for later use. I arrived at the coastal city that evening. The sound of the waves is truly magical, crashing continuously for thousands of years. Yet it feels like it cleanses the soul. I started another live stream. This time I covered the camera with a band-aid to hide my location, lying on the beach and chatting with my viewers. What illness do you have? It's not incurable, just a minor one in its early stages. I'm quite pain sensitive, so I need to prepare myself mentally. Nobody is born brave. It's normal for me to fear pain. I'm just an ordinary person. A brother? I don't have a brother. He's making it up, probably some obsessed fan. I chuckled, playfully blaming Charles. It's funny how even I have obsessed fans now. You all better protect me. Charles showed up again, due to his usual antics. Entering my stream triggered a special purple light effect, making him hard to ignore. Why didn't you wait for me? I looked for you for a long time there. Why didn't you go to the hospital? Charles kept asking, one question after another. I didn't want to answer, pretending not to see, and ran to the edge of the water to let my live viewers listen. The seawater is cool, but it feels nice to step in. The sand is soft and fine. You sink in without even trying. The cold, slightly salty sea breeze hits my face. It's frightening yet oddly addictive. I was wearing a light flowing dress, holding the hem in my hands, kicking at the water like a child playing by the shore. The water splashed around with no one nearby, but I was enjoying myself alone. The lights along the shore were bright and dazzling, the depths of the sea dark and boundless. I danced at the boundary of light and shadow, the wind lifting the hem of my dress, blooming like a snow-white flower. My hair covered my eyes. I couldn't see myself or others. Suddenly, someone grabbed my hand, a tall man, oddly dressed in a shirt and trousers at such a relaxed beach setting. He held a garland in his hand, with hints of pale blue among the white, not saying a word, just placing the garland on my head, then stepping back to watch me from the shore. What a strange man. I had enough fun for the night. I walked away, still longing for the dance, only to find that the man who had watched me dance had already left. I picked up my phone to head back to the hotel, but then I saw Charles arguing with my fans online. I really am Tiffany's brother. I'm her biological brother. We share the same mother. Message after message in purple flashed across the screen. Despite his conspicuous comments, my fans, forewarned by me, remained skeptical of Charles's claims. No matter how assertive he became, frustrated, Charles swore, with a smirk. I clicked on Charles's profile and blocked him. Just because he's rich doesn't mean he can insult my fans on my turf. The fans celebrated wildly, many sending gifts, worried about how I would handle offending such a powerful figure. What's there to handle? I'm just a small-time travel vlogger. Happiness is what matters most. He's so wealthy, he probably won't care about the life and death of a small vlogger like me. If he does, he must be really idle. Everyone should do their thing, whether it brings joy or not. Life is full of flavors. Just experience it slowly. Do I sound like your grandma? Well, your grandma is quite cultured and open-minded. Maybe you should meet her. The sound of the waves roared as I walked back to the hotel, feeling the sea breeze. The moment I turned off the live stream, Charles's call came through. I casually put the phone on speaker and laid it on the table, sinking into the couch and rubbing my stomach. As the medication wore off, the pain started creeping back in. It wasn't unbearable, but it was definitely uncomfortable. Discomfort made me irritable. In my past life, I had lost my sharp edges. This time, I wanted to be a hedgehog, not letting anyone take advantage of me. Tiffany, where are you? I'm coming to find you. Charles sounded urgent over the phone. I shifted my position and couldn't resist snapping at him. Get treated if you're sick, otherwise get lost. I'm busy. Charles was taken aback by my retort, sensing my low mood. His tone softened significantly. Are you feeling unwell? If you don't want me to accompany you to the hospital, I can send you money to go check it out yourself. Why was Charles so insistent on me going to the hospital? I had only recently received a cancer diagnosis myself. Why was he in such a hurry for me to seek treatment? Something was off, especially since Charles usually showed no interest in me. He thought I was an embarrassment to him and to the Lincoln family, preferring to stay as far away from me as possible. Such a person, who avoided me like the plague. Why was he suddenly so concerned? Reborn? Impossible. Even if he were reborn, his attitude towards me wouldn't change so drastically, rather than him being reborn. It felt more like someone else was controlling him. The real Charles wouldn't care about me this much. Tiffany, stop joking. Seriously, go to the hospital and get checked. If something comes up, I'll take care of the treatment. Treatment? I didn't want treatment. Chemotherapy was just too painful. Every other day, thick needles had to be inserted into someone's spine, injecting substances into the body. After the injections, it hurt whether I bent over or lay down, constantly reminding me that if I couldn't endure, if I wasn't strong enough, death will come for you soon. The constant physical and psychological pressures are squeezing the little space I have left to survive. Just thinking about it gives me the chills. Why do you think I'm sick? Charles chuckled. It's important to get regular health checks. If you're sick, we'll treat it, and if not, did you peek at my medical records? I wasn't interested in listening to Charles lie. My stomach was hurting more and more, worsened by a night's exposure to the cold sea breeze without eating anything. Charles paused for a moment before speaking. Just as I was about to hang up, Tiffany, give your brother a chance to make it right. Okay, start over. You can't expect me to watch you. Let's get treatment. I'll stop wasting money. I'll save all my money for you. Let's go get treatment. He didn't respond, and I hung up. How could this jerk think just because he's reborn he can save me? Reborn once, shouldn't he be rushing to cover up for Penny, hiding that she's not a true Lincoln? How could Charles genuinely want to save me? He must be playing some trick I don't know about. Living is too tiring, too painful. I really don't want to live in this world anymore. I ordered a seafood platter, changed into warmer clothes, and streamed a mukbang for my fans. Thankfully Charles didn't show up to steal the spotlight. Chatting with fans and shooting the breeze about everything under the sun wasn't so bad. At least it was joyful. The colorful barrage of comments appeared again. Deep Ocean said, crabs are cooling in nature, eat less. Deep Ocean is different from Charles. He's a real big shot. Although he hasn't donated much, the colorful comments alone made him seem very classy. When a big shot speaks, I listen. I broke off a few crab legs to snack on, setting the rest aside, leaving only a pot of seafood soup to occasionally sip and warm my stomach. While streaming, the phone rang again, but this time it wasn't that scoundrel Charles. It was my biological mother, Ms. Faith. Ms. Faith's voice was as gentle as ever, first enlightening me with a long talk about Penny's achievements, then encouraging me to emulate Penny. Emulate what? Her heart as venomous as a viper, killing without a blade, or her honeyed words with a dagger behind, cutting off my lifelines in my past life. I have things to do. Hanging up now. Before the call ended, I heard Ms. Faith's tone finally fluctuate, seemingly a bit angry. It doesn't matter, this family is all messed up. I hadn't even returned to the live stream when the phone rang again. My hand trembled, and I answered. It was still Ms. Faith. This time her tone was much softer. Such a drastic change in attitude made me wonder if she had been possessed. So gentle. It was as if I could smell the sunshine on her through the phone. Tiffany, how are you feeling? How have you been eating? Why don't you come with Mom for a health checkup? My stomach was uncomfortable, and I didn't want to spend energy on this pretentious mother-daughter relationship, so I hung up and tossed the phone on the couch. The phone screen lit up again. Not willing to give up shining for a long time, I'm not answering, even if the Emperor himself calls. I chatted on and off with Deep Ocean. I was fidgeting with the flower wreath that the strange man had given me earlier tonight. The variety of the roses was unique, with snow petals that faded into a subtle aquamarine hue as they approached the heart of the flower. It reminded me of the hydrangeas I held this afternoon. Deep Ocean sent a message in the live stream chat. It suits you well, Madam Hardy. I watched the wreath with interest. speculating alongside my fans about Deep Ocean's profession in the comments section. Just by looking, he knew the variety of the flowers. Could he be a florist? But then, considering the colorful and radiant design of his message box, it seemed unlikely that someone as prestigious as him would just be a florist. I believed that my dear big shot must own acres of flower fields. Deep Ocean didn't send any more messages, and we couldn't figure out what he actually did for a living. The topic soon drifted far off course. In the end, I promised my fans that I would take them to the beach tomorrow to check out the handsome guys, and only then did they let me off the hook. After a bath, I headed to the hotel for an essential oil spa treatment. Tomorrow, I planned to dazzle everyone and look stunning as I went out. In the morning, when the beach was most crowded, I started a live stream. The blue sea was frothing with snow-white waves, and in the bright sunlight, parts of the ocean surface shimmered in green. Unlike the chilly breeze of last night, today was warmly sunny, and the sand felt soft underfoot. I started beachcombing live with a mini 9-toothed rake I'd bought for 9 yuan. Kneeling on the ground, I dug into the sand with the small rake. The man who had given me the flowers yesterday appeared again. He pointed to a hole and told me there were razor clams inside. Looking up at his handsome face, I decided to trust him. He held my phone while I unceremoniously dug in the sand. We didn't find any clams, and my 9-toothed rake broke. Different colored firework effects lit up the chat once more, and the man's deep voice thanked the givers on my behalf, which only infuriated one of them. It was Charles. He had been blocked by me before, and now here he was, using a new account to send a few fireworks and trying to act like an administrator to control my live stream. So ridiculous. I took back my phone, thanked the man, and walked a bit further away to coldly address Charles in the live stream. Charles, your sister is abroad. If you need to vent your familial feelings, you could just fly over there and reunite with your family. Why bother me? Don't say we have a deep connection. We've barely met. It's not necessary, really. We're all dispensable entities. Don't tell me you can't manage without me. I've never seen you need anything from me in my life. I thought Charles really deserved a scolding. I hoped my words would wake him up, so he wouldn't dare bother me again. Charles stopped talking, only silently sending more fireworks, one after another, all in green. Pathetic. Just as I was about to lose my temper, my dear big shot stepped in. He sent a dreamy castle effect that covered the fireworks with a light purple hue. Once that annoying green vanished, I felt much better. Blatantly double standard, I sweetly thanked Deep Ocean in front of Charles. Thank you, brother Deep Ocean, for the dreamy castle. You are amazing. Keep going. Well, to be honest, acting coquettishly seems to be a skill, and I might not have a knack for it, but it seemed that Deep Ocean really enjoyed it. As he, flustered, sent down a bunch more dreamy castles, Charles got angry and started sending dreamy castles too. 99 dreamy castles would trigger a little Easter egg on the streaming platform. From the dreamy purple castles, a girl in a princess dress stepped out. A Prince Charming, straight out of a fairy tale, swept her off her feet and together, hand in hand, they entered the castle. This scene perfectly encapsulates the dream life of a leading lady and top influencer. After their wedding, Deep Ocean paused his gift-giving spree, but Charles didn't stop. He also sent 99 fantasy castles, triggering special Easter egg effects. I felt sick. Charles, get lost. Setting aside the unpredictable factor that is Charles. The coastal city trip was fantastic. Sunshine, beaches, palm trees, and countless handsome men and beautiful women on the beach. I'm just a simple person. I love watching attractive people getting cozy. On the 5th day of happily exploring the seaside city, I encountered two unexpected people, my biological parents. They looked travel-worn in their expensive suits and dresses, their faces unable to hide their exhaustion. Was the Lincoln family going bankrupt? Weren't they supposed to be abroad with Penny on her world tour? Before I could ask, Mrs. Faith, upon seeing me, rushed over and embraced me tightly. Was she ill? Had she been possessed? A tear fell on my neck, warm at first but soon turning cold. Mrs. Faith held me tightly, making me feel momentarily important, but seeing Mr. Lee stand opposite, that illusion quickly vanished. What was this? What game was the Lincoln family playing now? No, Tiffany, you need to stay strong. Don't fall for the enemy's sugar-coated bullets. Didn't you have enough of a terrible life last time? Wasn't dying alone in a hospital enough? Family sentimentality was a trap. I peeled Mrs. Faith's clinging hands off me, stepped back to ensure a safe social distance, and then asked, "What's going on? If there's nothing important, I need to go. The handsome guy who gave me a flower garland is still waiting for me on the beach, Mrs. Faith responded with tear-filled eyes. What's with all these tears? Can't they speak before breaking down? The Lincolns must really be bankrupt. It can't be that they're bankrupt and now want the few $100,000 from my bank card, can it? Any random violin in Penny's music studio is worth more than that. Tiffany, listen to Mom, let's go to the hospital to check on your illness. Okay, we can't delay this any longer. What illness? Had Charles been spreading rumors about my health? Last time I found out I had cancer, it wasn't nearly this dramatic. They were just disappointed and wanted me to stop making a fuss, Mrs. Faith cried elegantly, her tears flowing before she spoke, making me feel guilty. How come I didn't inherit this trait? If only I had, I wouldn't have struggled to make money from live streaming in my past life. If I had learned this, I could just hold a camera and live stream my tears in the wind every day. Suddenly, my biological father cautiously spoke up, his tone probing. Tiffany, Dad has been feeling unwell due to frequent business trips these past few days. How about you accompany Dad to the hospital? It's a good opportunity for the whole family to get a health checkup. The hospital, again with the hospital, had the Lincoln family taken up a feud with hospitals? I scoffed and crossed my arms, observing the couple who supported each other. They looked like a perfect couple, stable and harmonious in their relationship, along with their 2 daughters and a son. They were the picture of a happy family of 5. From my perspective, this family health checkup had nothing to do with me, just like Charles. They were all the same. A bizarre thought suddenly struck me. Could it be what I think? Everyone had been reborn, a group rebirth, rebirth as a family. Are rebirths these days calculated by whole families? Why does the Lincoln family stick together like glue even after death? Looking at this middle-aged couple in front of me, it feels like there's a tear in my heart. I thought I was fearless, even in death, that nothing could break me in this life, but it turns out I still care. I should find time to change my name, to cut ties completely. Regardless, I don't want the Lincoln family name on my tombstone even after I die. I'll do it tomorrow. Caesar hesitated, now a middle-aged man with a more weathered face, replacing the decisive family head I remember from my memories with a man who seems more cautious. In my past life, Caesar was a strict father to me alone, and a tender father to Pearl, Penny, and Charles. He granted their every wish. When Penny wanted an antique violin for her collection, he bought it without a second thought. When Charles casually mentioned wanting the latest sports car during dinner, Caesar just nodded, and the next day, the car keys were in Charles's hands. As for our eldest sister Pearl, she got whatever she asked for, even shares in the company. All I wanted was $200,000 for medical treatment, which I thought was just a simple request. But he told me to think about whether I really needed the money. How could I not need it? How can someone be so hypocritical? At that moment, as I met his gaze, the sadness in my heart couldn't be suppressed. I stared at him, speechless. Having lost even the courage to speak, despite making the same requests, I was the only one who couldn't receive. I was the only one who didn't fit in that family. Looking at the cold-faced man before me, I wanted to lash out at him, but as the words approached my lips, they were replaced by a profound sense of powerlessness. Why treat me this way? Am I really that unimportant? Is it because I wasn't watched over as I grew up that such a huge disparity exists? Yet, wasn't I also a child you once longed for and brought into this world? It was only later that I understood that blood relations don't really define anything. Penny, who shared no blood ties with them, was treated like family, while I managed to be the outcast in both households, favored by neither. The sadness from my memories seemed to be chasing after me, and I quickly pulled my thoughts away. He came to find me. The man who had given me the flower wreath and helped me with my phone live stream had come looking for me. I never knew his name. He just asked me to call him, hey, saying that he'd know it was me calling him. He was a peculiar man, clearly not suited to be a long-term boyfriend. Of course, I wasn't destined to have a prolonged romantic trial with him either. Life's battery was low, unable to recharge. He was waiting for me at the hotel entrance, and I couldn't wait to escape from that suffocating place. I briefly humored the Lincolns, then turned and walked away with the man. Are you unhappy? He rarely spoke, so rarely that I sometimes wondered if he was introverted. I didn't want to continue that topic and brushed him off. It's okay, shall we have some skewers for lunch? After a moment's thought, he took me to a seafood congee stall instead. The best food in a seaside city isn't necessarily found in grand restaurants. These ubiquitous small eateries also hide extraordinary delights. Although I hadn't spent much time with this man, he seemed to know about my stomach issues and was particularly cautious about what I ate. The congee stall we visited was small but clean. The elderly couple who ran it sat chatting with friends at the door, embodying a peaceful and tranquil life. Even though I couldn't understand the local dialect, I could feel their calmness and joy. The steamy seafood congee was bursting with flavor. The rice grains had exploded into fluffy blossoms, mixed with finely chopped seafood and large shrimp, garnished with a bit of green onion. The warmth of the congee surpassed so-called familial affection. After being diagnosed with stomach cancer, I hadn't enjoyed a meal this much in a long time. Indeed, in this world, only gourmet food is unforgivable to ignore. After finishing the congee, I immediately bought a ticket back to the capital. I've grown tired of the "Lee" in my name. Today was the day to change it. Seeing me buy the ticket, the man sitting across from me seemed uneasy. His large frame blocked others from my view, but not his. As our eyes met, his face suddenly turned bright red. To the unaware, they might think I had done something outrageous to this tall, robust man, but I hadn't. I'm not a hooligan, just a pure, ordinary citizen of the 21st century. You are leaving. His whole demeanor softened, his large eyes blinking unconsciously, like a little puppy. This man was really something, even for someone who's been single for 2 lifetimes. I found it hard to resist. Tiffany, stay calm. As someone nearing death, you can't lead this young man astray. I nodded. I need to go back home for a bit. His face fell in an instant. My goodness, the quick changes of expression I've seen in cartoons actually exist. I quickly added, there's something I need to do at the local police station back home. The man frowned, seemingly reluctant, his face shifting between hesitation and discontent. Can I come with you? He suddenly stood up, even turning around on the spot, not looking very wise. I can help you with your luggage. His eyes were shining as he spoke. What should I do? He's starting to look more and more like a puppy to me. Why do you speak so little? I was curious. Calling him innocent seemed wrong given his previous flirtatious answers. Yet calling him a playboy now seemed equally misguided as he appeared as naive as a puppy. His previously rosy face quickly cooled down. Even though I had no idea which of my words had hit a sore spot, I could see his eyes suddenly filled with sadness. The emotions in his eyes were overwhelmingly suppressed. His tall frame stood still, his gaze growing more vacant as if he had suddenly fallen into a world of his own. Could it be that I inadvertently provoked some kind of strange spirit in him? I quickly reached out and tugged at his sleeve, trying to snap him out of it. Suddenly, he grabbed my hand tightly, his eyes filled with both terror and relief. He held on so tightly that it hurt. I couldn't understand sudden change, but our eyes met as if I was a lifeline to him. In his gaze, I seemed like someone who could pull him out of the abyss. What was wrong with him? I was afraid to ask, fearing I might touch a sensitive nerve again. He looked at me, and our eyes locked. I tried to appear as gentle as possible, sending out the softest signals I could muster, while also firmly gripping his hands that clung to my wrist. Instinctively, I felt this might give him strength. The porridge shop was small and crowded, people around us watched, but I dared not let go of his hand, fearing his emotions might spiral out of control again. Gradually, his mood seemed to stabilize, but he still looked very despondent. He led me out of the porridge shop, holding my hand tightly the whole way without letting go. He held on tightly, unaware of his own strength, and I didn't remind him. Gradually, I walked with him to the place where we first met. I found a sheltered spot, leaned against a rock, and listened to his story. He told me he suffered from survivor's guilt. On his 18th birthday, his family had planned to go out to a restaurant to celebrate. That day, they were involved in a severe multi-car crash involving 7 vehicles. Their car was smashed out of shape. He survived by sheltering in his brother's arms, but his brother died on top of him. His father was impaled in the lung by a steel pipe from a truck ahead and suffocated, while his mother died instantly from severe head injuries. If I hadn't insisted on celebrating my birthday, they wouldn't have been in that crash. He lamented. Survivor's guilt, as the name suggests, is the guilt felt by those who survive a disaster, burdened by the deaths of others. Survivors feel that if they could have done something differently, maybe the disaster wouldn't have occurred. or those who died might have lived. Now, he was the only one left in his family. The accident left him with psychological scars. He despised himself, believing that if he hadn't stubbornly insisted on going to that restaurant for his coming-of-age celebration, his parents and brother might not have died. His grief was almost tangible. He crouched down and hugged himself tightly, his large body almost curling into a ball. I didn't know how to comfort him. I could see his soul struggling in agony, and I felt powerless. This helplessness was like the times I tried to save myself alone in the hospital. But how can someone who has given up on themselves save others? I stayed with him for a long time. He started by squatting on the ground, then ended up slumping against the large rock sheltering us from the wind, staring out at the sea. Perhaps his reason for coming to this seaside city was the same as mine, hoping the sea would heal our wounded souls. But it was too late. Some wounds had already festered and were beyond healing. He and I, we were both souls struggling desperately. I'm deep ocean. He dropped the bombshell so suddenly, silently, that I couldn't help but dig a small hole in the sand with my finger, startled. Deep ocean, the man standing before me did indeed look like a big shot, resembling a mob boss straight out of a comic book. He didn't quite match the image of deep ocean I had in my mind, but he was impressive nonetheless. Now that I think about it, I had never actually seen what deep ocean looked like. I had always imagined him as a wealthy, flashy uncle. The reality was quite the opposite. Does this mean I inadvertently nailed the top dog without even realizing it? I stumbled upon your live stream by chance and found you very sunny and gentle. Although you were doing simple things, watching them felt comforting and relaxing. Gradually, your live streams became something that helped me sleep a little better. I've been in this coastal city for a while, so even on the day you didn't turn on your camera, I guessed you were here based on what the people around were saying. I couldn't help myself. I came to see you. I didn't speak because I was afraid to disturb you. I gave you the flower wreath because you seemed a bit sad at the time. He still sounded a bit melancholic as he spoke, probably still caught up in his memories. I couldn't share my own pain with him. All I could respond was, okay, come with me to the capital, if you don't mind the hassle. With deep ocean by my side, live streaming became much easier. I didn't have to run around holding the phone with one hand anymore. He was really tall. He could reach places I had to climb up to just by standing and lifting his arms. It's frustrating how some people just make everything look easy. I deliberately fed him bean juice, watching his face scrunch up in disgust as he reluctantly drank it. After finishing, he looked as forlorn as a puppy. I took him to where I grew up, to see my elementary, middle, and high schools, and even my university. My life hasn't been long, all spent in this one city. If we hurry, we can walk through it all in one day. Why hadn't I realized how narrow my world was before? While chewing on a sugar-coated hawthorn stick, I took deep ocean to change my name. I changed my last name to Taylor. For this, I even made up a non-existent lover, saying he had died, and I wanted to live on using his last name. From now on, I am Luna Taylor. I don't want to follow the traditions of the Lincoln family. I am just me, clean and unbound by any conventions. I want to die in the freest way possible. My future might be short, but it will be bright and splendid. After changing my name, there was a period of review. It was a bit troublesome as I couldn't leave this place just yet. Just as I was about to head back to the hotel to lie down and rest for a day, Deep Ocean pulled up beside me in a newly acquired car. He rolled down the window, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, and tilted his head at me, looking incredibly handsome. My goodness. He looks so much like Doryman. We drove overnight to an ancient town. Deep Ocean had watched my live streams and knew I liked dresses. He even prepared 3 sets for me to choose from in advance. If I didn't go all out with a full ensemble, I wouldn't be doing justice to these brand new dresses. I absolutely love them, really love them. But as a 21st century thorny rose, I still need to keep some decorum. I told him, boss, this isn't appropriate, he replied. Consider these dresses as gifts I've sent in the live stream. True, a dream castle for 10,000 isn't as enchanting as traditional Han attire. Charge. I urged the fans in the live stream to display their gratitude to the benefactor on the main screen. Charles, without saying a word, silently set off fireworks. One after another, the fireworks covered all the messages about Deep Ocean on the public screen. He must have spent hundreds of thousands. And I probably got around 100,000 myself. Then he stopped and sent his first message in several days. Tiffany, after you come back from the ancient town, can we go to the hospital to check on you? You really can't delay treating your illness any longer. Seeing Charles about to spoil things, I quickly kicked him out of the live stream, but the fans in the room and Deep Ocean had already seen Charles's colorful message. What exactly is wrong with you? Deep Ocean asked. Voicing everyone's concern, I could brush off anyone else, but I couldn't lie to Deep Ocean. I remained silent. That scoundrel Charles created a new account and returned, renaming himself Charles II, then began frantically posting messages. Please everyone, persuade my sister. She's been diagnosed with stomach cancer but refuses to go to the hospital. Our family is very worried and we all hope to get her treatment. Although you might not believe I am her brother. All I can say is that Tiffany and I are truly blood-related siblings. I've done some things in the past that upset her, and I don't blame her for not acknowledging me, but all I wish for now is for her to get hospitalized and treated. Charles's words cut through the facade I had maintained, exposing everything. Why does he want everyone to pity me? Why turn my well-managed live stream into something I never wanted to see? Why destroy the peace I've worked so hard to achieve? This little live stream was one of my few sanctuaries. Why won't they leave me even this one clean space? The fans in the live stream were anxious, bombarding me with questions about whether it was all true. The messages flew so fast I couldn't keep up. What do you want me to say? Some things don't cease to exist just by denying them. Deep Ocean shut down the live stream, and I stood there motionless. If there's anything I regret most since being reborn, it's not having dealt with that fool Charles myself. Exhausted in both body and mind, I didn't even have the strength to lift my hand. Deep Ocean stood by my side, gently embracing me. He was tall, with a broad and warm chest. In this early autumn weather, it felt just right, but I am not all right. As everyone knows, a person feeling wronged cannot withstand being coddled. Tears uncontrollably streamed down my face, unstoppable. They dampened Deep Ocean's shirt. I didn't want to cry. They escaped on their own. An increasing sense of helplessness weighed down on me like a mountain. I didn't know what to do. I just wanted to run a live stream, to record the most carefree moments before my demise. Why is it so hard? Living is so exhausting. Deep Ocean, living is so exhausting. Deep Ocean, who I once thought was incredibly fragile, now became the pillar supporting my emotions. I felt somewhat guilty, but I couldn't help it. I really couldn't, as tears crossed my nose. I smeared them everywhere. It turns out that when a person is in extreme distress, tears are uncontrollable, and from such small eyes, so many tears can flow. I don't want to be treated. I don't want chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is too painful. It really is too painful. In the embrace of Deep Ocean, I found myself weeping inconsolably, spilling every grievance and sorrow as they came to mind, nearly recounting every injustice I could think of. Deep Ocean truly was as gentle as the sea. He held me close, gently patting my back, comforting me as one would soothe a child. When was the last time someone had comforted me like this? I couldn't remember. After my tears had dried, I didn't know how long I had cried, but I felt somewhat embarrassed afterward. I tugged on Deep Ocean's sleeve and mentioned that I wanted to eat seafood porridge. Unable to hide my status as a patient, I laid my cards on the table. Deep Ocean frowned, pulled out his phone to search for something, but then put it away. We're going to the hospital. I froze in place, Deep Ocean holding my hand, intending to lead me to the nearest hospital, but I stood still, and he didn't move. It's just to check for any dietary restrictions, Deep Ocean explained, sensing my reluctance to go to the hospital. The internet isn't always reliable. It's better to check at the hospital. Okay, I murmured, lowering my head and following Deep Ocean. We're just checking for dietary restrictions, I reiterated. Deep Ocean hummed in acknowledgement and draped a jacket over my shoulders. On the way, we briefly discussed why I was hesitant to go to the hospital. I couldn't tell Deep Ocean that I was reborn. After much thought, I attributed it to my fear of pain. Isn't it better to live? Though it might be painful, there are many possible futures, Deep Ocean said succinctly, his words clear and to the point. I shook my head, unwilling to relive the agony of chemotherapy from my past life. From a rational standpoint, I knew I should seek treatment, but emotionally, I didn't want to live. I didn't want to encounter the Lincoln family again. I wasn't truly brave. All my actions were attempts to evade, to avoid familial bonds and potential hurts, to not hold out hope, to always prepare for the worst. Those were the constant thoughts of a pessimist like me. What then? After treatment, to entangle again with the Lincoln family. It seemed like I could never escape the shadow of the Lincoln family in this lifetime. Start over, reset everything. After checking for dietary restrictions at the hospital, Deep Ocean began to stick closely to me, ensuring I didn't sneak any snacks behind his back. Having heard from a fan group that a fan was once so thirsty they stole a cucumber from Yellow Mount's gardener and ended up being chased by a dog across half the mountain, I impulsively pulled Deep Ocean to go climb Yellow Mount. The first sight of the Yellow Mount Trail made me nauseous. There, I saw them, the Lincoln family that caused me so much pain, the couple and their 3 children, all neatly together, probably more assembled than at my last funeral. It was like inviting bad luck home, where bad luck opens the door. This lifetime had never been so cursed. Deep Ocean squeezed my hand, silently comforting me. I hadn't explained to Deep Ocean why I was so repulsed by my biological family, but he seemed to have a knack for filling in the blanks. I still remember that night. He held me close and gently said, "Our Luna is definitely not an unwanted child. We all love you very much. These delicate and beautiful moments are more precious than pearls. They are the fleeting joys that my tragic life cannot erase." That sentence seemed to give me strength. Holding hands with Deep Ocean, I climbed the mountain path without looking sideways. After about an hour, I began to feel stomach cramps. I deftly pulled out some painkillers from my backpack, but Deep Ocean stopped me. He took out a thermos from his own backpack, filled with vegetable porridge he had learned to cook himself. "Have some porridge first." Looking at the dark circles under his eyes, I felt a deep sense of guilt. I should have never gotten involved with him. He already suffers from survivor's guilt. If I were to leave him now, would it cause him to break down again? The porridge was warm and stayed down. Despite the Lincoln family being nearby, though it tasted bland to me, what I once thought were sweet memories I'd cherish all my life, now seem more like poison to him. Yet, he relishes it. How should I respond to him? The more I engage, the deeper I fall. To refuse, I can't bring myself to do it. Deep Ocean is the only light in my 2 lives. He is my moon. After finishing the porridge, Deep Ocean continued to climb the mountain with me. He seemed to understand my wishes, doing his utmost to help me accomplish everything I wanted to do. We checked off destinations on my bucket list one by one, but instead of diminishing, my regrets only grew. Deep Ocean took me to a swing tied with safety belts at the peak of the highest mountain. The Lincoln family stood by, watching me as if they feared I'd disappear in the blink of an eye, sitting on the swing, with the mountain breeze brushing past my ears. I looked at Deep Ocean pushing the swing and suddenly felt I couldn't leave without worries. If only you had appeared earlier. If we had met in our past lives, the ending might have been different. I zoned out on the swing for a long time, with Deep Ocean continuously pushing me. Lost in thought, my hand slipped off the swing. A scream came from the Lincoln side. "Mrs. Faiths." I looked up to see her, tears streaming down her face. Why is she crying? Isn't Penny right by her side? Disgusting. She was so indifferent to me in our past lives, and now she acts as if she cares so much. My change is due to rebirth. But what about theirs? Did they also experience rebirth? Is this strange encounter meant to allow me to address my regrets, or is it for them to fulfill their wishes and erase their scant guilt? Are they tired of being tormented by guilt? So now, everyone starts to care about me, always saying they need to take me to the hospital. At that moment, I seemed to have found a way to exact revenge on them. I let go of my hands, letting the swing soar high as I laughed unrestrainedly. My gaze locked on every member of the Lincoln family, eager not to miss a trace of their pain. The Lincoln couple's eyes were red, and Mrs. Faith could no longer maintain her composed and gentle demeanor. Stumbling as she ran towards Deep Ocean, "Get away, don't touch him." I acted like a cat whose territory had been violated, lashing out with all my might. She stopped in her tracks, standing there crying helplessly, begging me to come down. Deep Ocean seemed to understand my thoughts. The higher I swung, the more unstable my seat became. Charles also cried, his eyes red as he pounded the mountain wall. Blood seeped from his wounds, his hands trembling, yet his eyes never left me. So, what exactly makes them care so deeply about me now? I don't understand, but I enjoy seeing them in pain. I spread my arms, embrace the mountain winds and mists with all your heart, and cherish the beauty of the world. The Lincolns looked on with fury in their eyes, the hatred in Penny's glance as tangible as anything. If looks could kill, I would have died 1,000 times over. "Do you hate me?" I had an idea why she detested me. But I never imagined her loathing could drive her to wish for my death. Penny stood in the corner, nearly invisible. For someone who usually craved attention, why was she now diminishing her presence? I refused to comply with her wishes. Pointing to where she stood, I shouted to the Lincoln family, bringing her here. Are you wishing for my early demise? Penny suddenly looked up, her gaze fierce and venomous. The Lincolns quickly followed the direction of my finger. She immediately lowered her eyes, pretending to be harmless, and said meekly, "Sister, I know I was wrong. Can you forgive me?" Her expression was nauseating. I got off the swing, my legs weak, and leaned against a tree trunk to regain my strength. Penny approached slowly, under the hopeful eyes of the Lincoln family, and said, "Sister, I was foolish before. Can you forgive me?" I brushed her hand away. She looked towards the Lincoln parents with tearful eyes, her face full of sorrow. No one paid her any attention, everyone was watching me. This was one of the rare times I showed aggression. Deep Ocean, standing behind me, seemed wary of Penny potentially lashing out. Just as Penny opened her mouth to start crying, I clutched my stomach and slowly squatted down. Pain. I had laughed too loudly earlier. The cold air had filled my mouth while swinging for too long, perhaps catching a cold. Deep Ocean immediately scooped me up and ran down the mountain. With Charles and the Lincolns following behind, Penny, seems like she was left behind at the mountaintop. When we reached the hospital, I was still dazed. My consciousness lingered on the cable car ride, and a tear that fell from Deep Ocean onto my clothes. Regret spread like ripples in a lake. I hadn't expected that one day, faced with death, I would feel the urge to retreat. If I died, he would truly be devastated. I let him take me for the checkup, while lying in the hospital bed. The Lincoln family looked at Deep Ocean as if he were a beacon of light, especially Charles, who had been silently competing with Deep Ocean during a recent live stream, was now eagerly following him around, affectionately calling him Brother Deep Ocean, being related by blood to him, quite embarrassing. In the afternoon, just after waking up from a nap and with Deep Ocean not by my side, Charles sat beside me, holding a stuffed teddy bear. I knew him, and he knew me. I didn't want to play a guessing game with them anymore. With my eyes closed, I didn't even want to glance at him. "Why did you insist on bringing me here for treatment? What were you doing when I begged you in my last life? Do I need to remind you, Tiffany? We only found out about your illness later, but by then it was too late. You were already gone." Charles defended himself, but he seemed to know that his words would upset me and quickly softened. Almost coaxing like one would soothe a child. "Tiffany, would you call me brother again? I know I was terrible in my past life. I did many bad things to you, but I'm truly scared now. I'm always afraid that once you fall asleep, you'll never wake up. I can't bear to lose you again." Charles placed a little plush bear beside my pillow. "I've had this bear since I was a child. Now, I'm giving it to you. You don't like me. You don't want to see me well. Can you let it stay with you instead?" I lifted my hand and threw the bear away. Charles was silent for a moment, but then managed a smile and said, "Don't like the bear. What do you like? I'll get it for you, whatever it is." "What do I like? I want you all as far away from me as possible, and stop calling me Tiffany. I've changed my name." Charles was taken aback, clearly surprised by my decision to change my name. "What's your new name?" "My name is Luna Taylor. I want nothing to do with you all. Too bad DNA can't be changed. Or I'd alter that too. Every one of you disgusts me. What does blood relation even mean to you? If you had cared even a little, I wouldn't have died in my previous life. The day I died, you were all having fun on the beach, while I lay alone in the hospital, in excruciating pain. Do you know how painful chemotherapy is? Have you seen how long those needles are? Do you have any idea what it feels like to be in so much pain that even breathing hurts as you toss and turn, unable to sleep? In such agony, I still had to count every penny to see if I could afford the next treatment. While all the doctors told me to stay cheerful and face the treatment positively, how could I be positive? How much more could I possibly bear? I just wanted to survive. While you were partying on the beach, I died. Do you know what it feels like to see every other chemotherapy patient with their families around them? Even the poorest families would rather sleep on the floor outside the ward or on hospital chairs just to be with their loved ones. Do you even remember how you treated me? Don't just blame Penny. Penny is hateful. But you also didn't trust me, did you? In your subconscious, you must have thought I was naive, unable to discern right from wrong, that I would covet the Lincoln family's wealth and turn bad. so whenever Penny said something, planted a seed of doubt, you kept suspecting me. You all are just disgusting. The door to the room opened, and there stood my parents, my sisters, all teary-eyed, wanting to cry out but holding themselves back. Only Deep Ocean didn't care about the almost stagnant mood in the room. He walked swiftly to me and lifted me up. He didn't cry, he just held me very tightly, almost merging me into his body. He was helpless, he was scared. I could feel Deep Ocean's body trembling slightly, his breaths erratic against my neck. Deep Ocean, you truly are my moon. In the dead of the night, Deep Ocean and I had a talk. He had been sleeping on the bench by the door and woke up with tears on his face. Does it hurt again? I'm not in pain. It's you I feel sorry for, you silly. After I'm gone, you need to take good care of yourself. My death isn't your fault. Think of it as my choice to end my suffering. The deep night fell silent. His towering figure crouched by my bed, resembling an unwanted puppy. But once you leave, I'll have no moon. His words were disjointed, but I grasped his meaning. You don't know, but you are my moon too. I know. I'll remember to eat well and rest. You wanted to go to Switzerland and France, and if you can't make it, I'll take you there. You want to see the world. I'll help you. The moon hung high in the sky, but now, he had come down to earth. I bent down, cradling Deep Ocean's face. Shall we heal together? We are each other's moon. How could I bear to let your world be devoid of moonlight? I can't stand to see the wonderful Deep Ocean struggle in darkness forever. I began treatment, seeking medical care at the first hospital with Deep Ocean. It was somewhat late. It had already progressed to mid-stage stomach cancer. The surgery was painful, but I dared not show it because Deep Ocean felt sad for me. I didn't want my pain to become his guilt. After surgery, I also had to go through chemotherapy. Every time, it was Deep Ocean who pushed me to the chemotherapy room. The Lincoln family came to visit me. I no longer had the strength to stop them. It was too painful. Deep Ocean's treatment mainly involved medication and psychological counseling, so he could still take care of my daily needs. We stayed in the same hospital room, and when I couldn't sleep due to pain, he would read stories to me. When happy, he read Hans Christian Andersen. When unhappy, he read ghost stories, making sure I'd snuggle into his arms from fright. He liked to rest his chin on my shoulder, barely touching, careful not to hurt my back. I told him I wanted to eat seafood porridge, but he said no, it wasn't time yet. He deliberately lowered his voice, whispering in my ear that once I got better, he'd take me to a seaside city to eat all the foods I had missed. Is this even human? He's seducing even a patient. Damn, he's infuriatingly charming. After chemotherapy, I lost a lot of hair, sparse and thin. In a fit of anger, I shaved my head completely. Now there was no hair left to lose, and I made Deep Ocean help me find various kinds of wigs every day. Some were not even wigs anymore. They could pass for headpieces from period dramas. He also learned how to style hair buns for dresses, saying that once I got better, we'd visit an ancient town again. Someone came to the door. It was Pearl, my older sister from a previous life whom I had never met. The prized gem of the Lincoln family, the eldest daughter. In my last life, I never met her until I died. She looked different from the last time I saw her at Yellow Mount. Her hair was much shorter. The radiant daughter of the Lincoln family, now cautious, checking the expressions of those inside even when knocking. Although we never met in my previous life, she had not refrained from humiliating me. But now, I was too lethargic to deal with them anymore. Pearl stared at my wig, unblinking. Could it be? I touched my wig. It wasn't crooked. Deep Ocean asked if she needed anything, and she pulled out a box, saying it was a wig she made herself, specially for me. Could it be made from her own hair? For a moment, I felt a bit queasy. In my previous life, my status in the Lincoln family was awkward, and it was even more awkward outside. The credit for this primarily goes to my eldest sister. During her interview, she mentioned that she only recognizes Penny as her sister. Although they are not related by blood, their bond is profound and surpasses the ties of kinship. I mentioned that I needed money for my stomach cancer treatment, but before I could finish, she had already hung up the phone, thinking about how she treated me differently in her past life and seeing her now. It's quite satisfying. Deep Ocean politely accepted the gift box. Pearl, pushing her luck, asked if she could try it on. After thinking for a moment, I bluntly stated that I'm allergic to the Lincoln family. A light touch could make me vomit, while a severe reaction could cause a full-body rash. I must maintain a safe distance from any member of the Lincoln family. Pearl paused, then stepped back towards the door. Before leaving, she apologized to me. She had been reborn and wanted to atone for her sins. She told me that as a child, she really wished for a sister but had taken the wrong path. She wasn't seeking forgiveness, only a chance to make amends. When it comes to relationships, it's better not to drag things out. If you're going to cut ties, do it cleanly. On my last day leaving the hospital, Charles brought Penny to see me. Charles forced Penny to kneel by my bed. Penny, with eyes full of resentment, softly apologized to me. I looked down and noticed Penny's unnaturally positioned right hand, looking at Penny and then at Charles. The former was furious yet silent, while the latter's ferocity and malice were nearly uncontrollable. My goodness, were the Lincoln family members fighting among themselves? Penny had been learning the violin since she was young and treated her hands like treasures. She would even wear gloves at home to arrange flowers. Now, from this unusual angle, it was clear her hand had suffered severe damage. Her hand was twisted out of place, even bearing a dark shoe print, with several fingers swollen red and streaked with purplish-red blood. Without saying a word, Penny knelt on the ground, repeatedly apologizing. Charles stood behind her, watching her intensely, as if monitoring her. Tiffany shrank back, burying her head even lower. Interesting, although I don't know why they suddenly turned on each other. This performance alone deserves an 8 out of 10. As I was about to leave, Charles blocked the door. You won't forgive her, will you? His gaze was fierce, as if he might strike me down the next moment. But he quickly realized he was being too harsh and repeated his previous statement in a softer tone. Would you forgive someone who drove you to death? Charles chuckled to himself, saying that was a good point. His laughter grew more cruel as Deep Ocean escorted me away while he menacingly approached Penny. In the 3 years that followed, I never saw him or Penny again, nor did I see any of the Lincolns. I have no idea where they went. However, the Lincoln family chose not to report the incident. Like in their previous life, they pretended nothing happened and glossed over the truth. After recovering, Deep Ocean insisted I recuperate in an ancient town for 6 months before allowing me to pursue my own activities. What could I do but take my fans on trips? I gave away everything the Lincoln family had given me through raffles to my live stream audience, and occasionally, when Deep Ocean bought me some quirky little toys, I'd also casually raffle them off. Wow, the live streaming room is amazing. My hair has just started to grow out and can't be tied up yet, but Deep Ocean and I really cherish these few strands on my head. We've spent a lot of effort nurturing them. 3 years later, Deep Ocean and I went to Switzerland. While I was live streaming our trip in Switzerland, he proposed to me, dressed in traditional dresses. He emerged from around the corner, pinned a hairpin in my hair, and whispered sweet nothings to me. Do you mind my secret? He said it was his secret to tell or not, and that his only regret was not having met me sooner. He too is a hard-earned treasure. He is my moon, and now, my moon has proposed to me. With love, I keep the moon to myself. Side story, my name is Charles, and I indirectly caused my sister's death. Penny had just finished her global tour, and we spent half a month vacationing abroad before returning home. When we returned, we were greeted by the corpse of Tiffany. Why didn't we receive any calls? Well, Penny had said to sort out our affairs, turn off our mobile phones, and focus on enjoying our time together. How could I have so easily believed that? It turned out Tiffany really had cancer. Her frail appearance the last time wasn't due to drug use. She was sick. Regret seems to be delayed, and eventually, the truth reveals its flaws. It was many years later when I learned that Tiffany's death was orchestrated by Penny. Penny had known for a long time that she wasn't the biological child of the Lincoln family. She secretly found her biological parents, who then neglected Tiffany and were instructed not to treat her well. Thus, my sister had an unhappy childhood. That couple seemed kind, but they were manipulative towards her. They constantly put her down, telling her no one would like her, but they would, they said. Beating and scolding are forms of affection. No parents don't love their children, so, my sister must have been hurt from a very young age. They didn't allow her to have a normal social life. She was scared of interacting with others, which is why she was so flustered and panicked when she first came to the Lincoln family. Even her stomach cancer bore their mark, after Penny found them. Their attitude toward my sister shifted drastically. She had little time to rest, was burdened with many chores, and ate only leftovers. The only snacks she got were the moldy nuts that the couple didn't want. they would wash and fry them before giving them to her, lying that they had bought them for her. How miserable must her life have been for her not to recognize the taste of moldy nuts, 7 years after my sister's death. I finally understood how much pain and despair she had endured before she died. Her foster parents abandoned her, never answering her calls after her identity was revealed. Her biological parents didn't love her. Her siblings didn't love her. Everyone was stingy in showing her kindness. She was like a hedgehog, stubbornly moving forward, stumbling and bleeding. She removed her spikes, kneeling before her enemies in a desperate attempt to survive. I was her closest family, yet also the one who hurt her the most. I hit her. I deserved to die. I had promised countless times in my childhood that I would always protect my sister. I deserve to die, but I can't. I broke Penny's violin-playing hands and watched her hide and wail in pain in the basement. She was so brazen that she didn't even destroy the evidence. She had a safe containing an old mobile phone. It was the phone my sister had used to contact her, begging her for money. She deserves to die. We are all sinners. We should all live out the rest of our lives in pain and guilt. I committed murder. After killing Penny, I exposed her sins one by one. She was a wolf in sheep's clothing, a demon in human skin. She killed my sister, and we were all her accomplices. Perhaps God saw how pitiful my sister's life was, so he not only allowed her to be reborn but us as well. She didn't want to go on living. She felt so cornered by us that she lost even the will to live. Fortunately, she encountered deep ocean, otherwise I can't guarantee that she would have chosen to keep living for our sake. Everything she did in her new life was geared towards a noble end. Her 2 lifetimes combined didn't even reach 35 years, and she was utterly disillusioned with the world. She said she would never forgive those who had driven her to death. As her brother, it's always my duty to protect her. I might remain unseen, but I'll eliminate anything that could disturb her peace. I took Penny to Myanmar, watching her struggle daily between life and death. Her biological parents would join her too. After witnessing Penny's last breath, I returned home to turn myself in. I'm a sinner, and I'm not living well. Perhaps that would make her happy. Regrettably, she didn't take the teddy bear I offered. I buried my teddy bear at the site of her grave from her past life. If someone must die, please let me take her place. In the next life, let me be your brother again, or even your father. I will protect you with everything I have. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.